Welcome to the road to 1 million US dollars. Let's get right into the Bitcoin chart for today. First of all, starting on this 4-hour time frame, because Bitcoin is right now testing this blue descending line of resistance that I talked about in yesterday's video as well. Because recently we actually confirmed this bullish divergence on the 4-hour time frame for Bitcoin, which is when you have lower lows in the Bitcoin price and higher lows in the RSI momentum indicator. And typically you will see a bullish divergence in a downtrend. And as soon as it confirms, it indicates that we are likely getting a break from all of that bearish price action. So you will either see some choppy sideways price action or potentially even some bullish momentum in the short term. And that is exactly what we have seen so far. And therefore, this signal that I confirmed at about 53,000 US dollars has been very accurate as of recently. However, right now, we are testing this trend line once again, where previously, as I warned about, we actually got a rejection from that trend line just a couple of days ago. Now, what actually changed since yesterday's video is that I added these numbers to this trend line right here. And the reason why is because typically, when you have over 5 touch points with a trend line, the trend line becomes more and more likely to be broken with every touch point after the 5th touch point. So that is important to keep in mind here. We are already at the 5th touch point, so it isn't guaranteed that it is going to break the trend line this time. However, the probability of it breaking becomes more and more likely with every touch of the trend line. So as of the time of recording, the descending line of resistance is sitting at about 58.8K. So this is a critical level to watch for the Bitcoin price right now. And in terms of support to the downside on this time frame and on this chart at least, you should be paying attention to 55.8K because of course, breaking down below this with confirmed daily or potentially even weekly candle closes, as we are getting close to that weekly close right now, then yes, of course, this would be very bearish. However, as we have seen in recent times, typically there is very low volatility and low volume during the weekends. So for me personally, at least what I'm expecting is to just see some choppy sideways price action during this weekend. And then we get that real confirmation that we're either breaking out to the upside or getting a rejection to the downside on Monday. And one other thing to be mindful of is that on weekends, the chance of a fake out are much more likely. So a fake out could be trading above it. Everyone thinks, it's going to break out and they flip bullish, but then you actually get a reversal back down in the following days or week after or so. And of course, a fake out can also be to the downside where you get some kind of rejection down, everyone flips bearish, and then on Monday, we actually just blast off to the upside, right? So that is something that I'm looking out for in the market right now. And taking a look at the Fibonacci levels here for Bitcoin on the daily time frame, it is starting to look pretty good, to be honest, because we broke above the 0.236 Fibonacci level right here, sitting at 57.7K. And in terms of Fibonacci resistance to the upside, we have the 0.382 Fibonacci level sitting at 60.4K. So in terms of Fibonacci levels, these are the two most important ones that I'm paying attention to right now. And taking a look at the support and resistance levels for Bitcoin, so far, again, as I talked about in yesterday's video, I am keeping this as a level of resistance until I get that strong daily candle close above this level. And of course, yesterday we again did not manage to clear this level with a confirmed candle close above the level. So therefore, yes, it is still a level of resistance as far as I'm concerned. But at this point, we have about 4 hours until this daily candle close. We're running into this weekend here, so lower volatility, lower volume. And therefore, I do think it is likely that we're going to close this candle above. And then I will be flipping this into a level of support for my next video tomorrow. And in terms of resistance to the upside for Bitcoin, you need to look at this big level of resistance right here, setting from 60,000 all the way up to 62.4K. And you need to be looking at this specifically if we get that daily candle close above, because then this could be an area of interest for Bitcoin next week. Now, before I continue with the Bitcoin analysis here, I recommend you join the Road to 1 Million community on Discord, because people are trading here actively every single day, talking about crypto and sharing their analysis for trading. So if that is something you're interested in, then definitely come check this out. It is completely free and you can join it with the first link in the video description. Moving on to the Bitcoin liquidation heat map for today. First of all, on this 1 week time frame, right now we have liquidity to the upside and to the downside. So the liquidity to the upside is sitting at 59.8K. And the liquidity to the downside is sitting at 56.5K. So those are some areas of interest for the Bitcoin price, because in the case that you don't know, typically the Bitcoin price gets attracted to where there is the most liquidity on this chart. However, in situations like this, where we have liquidity to the upside and to the downside, I prefer relying more so on the technical analysis, especially if you're trading the short term here. Then I would be looking at technical analysis like trend lines and stuff like that on these lower timeframes here, instead of relying on these liquidation heat maps. However, if you see a move to the upside like this, where we sweep this level of liquidity at 60K, then potentially you need to start looking for a reversal. As we saw here recently, we took out the liquidity to the upside and then reversed back down. We took out this liquidity to the upside and then reversed back down. Took out this liquidity to the downside and then reversed back to the upside, right? So taking out a big level of liquidity tends to be an area where potentially the price reverses back to the downside. Now, of course, it isn't guaranteed, but it is something you should be looking out for when you see it happen, right? Now, moving on to the Bitcoin ETF flow tables for today, because yesterday we saw a massive inflow of $310 million into the Bitcoin ETFs. And we saw Fidelity as well as BlackRock buying over $100 million worth of Bitcoin each just on Friday. So these inflows last week have been massive. And obviously this has been a good thing for the Bitcoin price as well, because of course, since the Bitcoin ETF started buying more, we have seen the price kind of stabilize a little bit more to the upside. Although again, I would say do not celebrate too early here, because you have to keep some kind of like balanced perspective on the market. These inflows have been very nice, but recently, not too long ago, if you just zoom out a little bit, we had massive outflows this entire way down. So if these Bitcoin ETF investors at this point, like next week, they flip more bearish again, then likely we are going to see the price react to that as well, because it is just a lot of selling pressure coming from those ETFs in that case. Although again, if we keep getting massive inflows next week, then I do think it is likely that we are going to break this level to the upside right here. And ideally, what I'm looking out for here, and I would love to see this, guys, is seeing a breakout, a retest, and then a resumption from there with a lot of volume in the market as well, because this would have all the marks of a breakout that I personally look out for when I'm looking out for a breakout. So that is like the ideal scenario, the most bullish scenario. But then again, so long as we do not clear above this previous high right here, sitting at about 63.4K, 63.5K, then technically we are still in a downtrend, because you have this high right here. And then let's say we make a lower high right here, then it is still just a downtrend where we're making lower highs and we're making lower lows in the price, right? So that is just something to consider. Even if we break this trend line right here, we are still technically in a downtrend, right? So ideally, you would see something like this, a move above this previous high, making a higher low, and then it's blast off and resumption from there. And then I do think that it's likely that we are going to the top of the range once again. And as I have been saying, even when we were trading all the way at 53K here, so long as we are trading inside this descending channel on the daily time frame, I think it is completely possible that we go to the top of the range at some point, so long as we hold this as a level of support. And so far, yes, we have. So this has been today's market update. Thank you very much for watching once again. Don't forget to go check out the Discord server. You can join it completely for free with the first link in the description of the video you're watching right now. And I will see you again tomorrow in the next one.